doing? Let me first introduce myself. My name is Fialin Alia Winarta. I study at Christian University of Indonesia. I'm very excited to learn about historical places that turn out to have very interesting stories to explore. And this time, I will invite you to get to know one of the most important cultural and historical iconic in Indonesia, especially in West Sumatra. That is Istana Pagaruyung or Pagaruyung Palace. So, guys, this palace is not just a magnificent building with a pointed roof like a buffalo horns, but it also holds extraordinary historical, cultural, and Minangkabau values. Well, this time my friend and I get into the story of Istana Pagaruyung together. So, let's go!
Wow, actually, I really want to go to play with Sumatra for a long time because I really want to see Pagaruyung Pilis in person.
Mm, yeah, if you come here, Pagaruyung Palace is definitely a must visit. This place is not just a beautiful building, but also full of history and philosophy of Minangkabau culture.
Yeah, from the photo, it looks really magnificent, but I still don't quite understand about the its history. Can you tell me the history of its police from the beginning?
Of course, so the Pagaruyung Palace is the center of government for the Pagaruyung Kingdom. This kingdom was established around the 17th century and was one of the major kingdoms in Sumatra.
So Pagaruyung Palace is not just the ordinary traditional house, but also a royal palace, right?
Exactly, this palace used to be the residence of the Minangkabau king, known as the Yang Dipertuan Pagaruyung. The system of governance is based on the unique Minangkabau custom, specifically the matrilineal system, where lineage is traced through the mother side.
Yeah, I also hear that Minangkabau follow the matrilineal system, so it makes their culture look different from other regions.
That's right. Well, the history of this palace is also closely related to the Padu War that occurred in the early 19th century. At the time, there was a conflict between the traditionalists and the reformists.
I've heard about the Padri War. This war was led by Tuanku Imam Bonjol, right?
That's right. The Padu faction want to implement stricter Islamic teaching, while the other factions still upheld the old customs. As a result, a great war broke out, and the Pagaruyung Palace was also burned in 1804.
So the current building of Pagaruyung Palace is not the original building.
No, this palace has undergone several renovations after being destroyed due to the Padri War. It was rebuilt, but it caught fire again in 2007 due to being struck by lightning. Then it was finally renovated again and inaugurated in 2030.
I'm curious about what is the special of Pagaruyung Palace. What is the uniqueness of Pagaruyung Palace? Can you tell me?
Well, this is interesting. The Pagaruyung Palace was built in the form of a rumah gadang with a gonjong roof that curved upward, resembling buffalo horns. This symbolized the victory of the Minangkabau ancestor in the event Tambo Alam Minangkabau, where their ancestor won in a buffalo duel against the Java Kingdom.
Buffalo duel? Buffalo fight? What do you mean?
The story goes like this. Once, the Minangkabau kingdom and the kingdom from Java went to war, but instead of fighting, they decided to hold a buffalo duel. The Minangkabau sent a hungry calf and put sharp horns on its head. As soon as it saw its opponent, the calf charged and won.
Wow, that's a clever tactic. That's why Minangkabau symbol resemble to buffalo horn, right?
That's absolutely right. Besides its unique roof, Pagaring Palace is also adorned with typical Minangkabau carving that contain life teaching, such as the philosophy of custom, religion, and culture.
Now, I'm curious, what is the function of this palace?
Currently, Pagaring Palace has functioned as a tourist attraction and center of Minangkabau culture. Many tourists come to learn about the history and custom of the Minangkabau. In addition, this palace is also often used for traditional events, such as Minangkabau traditional wedding and important meetings.
So this palace play many roles in Minangkabau culture, right? And it's still alive.
Yes, if you go inside, you can see various collections of historical artifacts, such as the king's traditional attire, traditional weapons, and ancient royal furniture.
After hearing your story, I become more curious to see the inside of Pagaryong Palace.
It will definitely be fun. Later, I can accompany you to inside to Pagarin Palace and explain in more detail about the rooms inside.
Thank you very much, Pio. I am very happy that we can talk and learn about history to someone who understands more about it.
You're welcome, Ka. After discussing various aspects of the Pagarung Palace, we can see that this building is not just a historical site, but also a profound symbol of Minangkabau cultural identity. From the story of the beginning of the Pagarung Kingdom in 17th century to major events like the Padri War that led the destruction of the palace in 1804, we learned that history is not just about past events, but also about how a society endures, adapts, and preserves its heritage. Its unique architecture with a gonjong roof shape resembling buffalo horns is not only visually appealing but also embodies the philosophy of history, victory, cunning, and the fighting spirit of the Minangkabau people, reflected in the story of the Buffalo duel between Minangkabau and the Javanese kingdom. Moreover, cultural values such as the matrilineal system, intricate carving full of life message, and the palace function as a place for preserving customs and cultural activities all indicate that Pagaryong is not just a thing of the past, but still alive and relevant today. In my personal opinion, getting to know the Pagaryong Palace also means learning to appreciate the roots of Indonesian culture more. Because when we understand the history and local values, we will love this country more and have awareness to preserve it amid rapid modernization. So today, although the palace we see is a result of reconstruction, its function remains alive as a center for cultural preservation, an educational tourist destination, and a symbol of pride for the Minang community. Through this video, I personally become more aware that preserving culture is not just about maintaining buildings or tradition, but also knowing it, understanding it, and spreading its story to other generation. I hope what I have shared can be beneficial and serve as motivation to continue loving and studying the richness of Indonesian culture. And don't forget to continue exploring our local history because from there we can build a strong rooted future. Thank you very much for watching this video until end. I hope what I have conveyed will improve knowledge, open up perspective, and of course foster a sense of pride in our own cultural way. If you are interested in learning more, I highly recommend visiting the Pagarium Palace in Tanah Datar, West Sumatra in person. And believe me, the experience of seeing it in person is far more impressive than just through in picture or stories. So that all for this video. Thank you for attention. Bye.